everyone, thank you for watching. Today's video is going to be all about makeup products that I don't regret not buying. I do have a regret series. I will have my playlist listed down below where I talk about makeup I regret buying, don't regret buying, I regret not buying, and then I also talk about those products that I decided not to purchase for whatever reason and that I still don't have any regrets about. I am totally fine that that product is not in my collection. So I have some new products here that I want to talk about that I do not have regrets over not deciding to purchase them. So if you are ready for a new regret video, why don't we go ahead and get started. So first up on my list, I have this one from Fenty. It was from the holiday collection, I think it was, the Galaxy palette. I'll insert photos over here since obviously I do not have any of these, but this was a pretty expensive eyeshadow palette. I believe it was like $59, and it was like all shimmer shades, you know, lid toppers, things like that. And there was a lot of buzz around it. A lot of people seemed excited for it, but I was like, you know what? Nope, not interested. I don't gravitate towards all shimmer palettes a ton. I like something that has a sprinkle of mattes in there as well, or an all matte palette, but I don't typically go for an all shimmer palette, and especially for something being that expensive, I was like, no. And I mean, of course there's always mixed reviews on everything. Not everybody only has one opinion on a product, but it seemed like not a lot of other people were all that impressed with it, and I very rarely like saw it being used, especially now, but even then when it was coming out, like I would see it sprinkled in videos here or there, but it didn't really seem like it went over all that well. Who purchased the Galaxy palette from Fenty Beauty? What'd you think about it? Do you absolutely love it, or were you like, ooh, maybe not? But for the price and knowing that I wouldn't reach for it a ton, I was able to say no to it. And then once I kind of saw the feedback after it came out, I was like, still a good decision. Still a good decision, Samantha. So that's one that I don't regret not having. Also on my list, I put the Maybelline and Gigi Hadid collection. This one definitely got a lot of chatter when it was coming out, mostly because of the like obscene prices that Maybelline was charging for the Gigi Hadid collection. Gigi is a model, a celebrity, and I feel like that's where the prices came from. But it was just kind of a bummer. Like, you know, even if someone is collaborating with a brand like Maybelline that's a drugstore brand that has more affordable prices, like I feel like it should be like, hey, we're gonna keep the prices affordable. I don't know. I was not into a $30 eyeshadow palette from Maybelline just because they were collabing with a model. I thought that was pretty crap. So I put it in a Will I Buy It video, and especially it came kind of on the heels of the NYX In Your Elements palettes, which I did purchase, and I put in a makeup I regret buying video because I purchased that palette at $30 and I was not impressed with it, and I was like, you know what, I'm not doing it again. Like, NYX had me sold on those palettes because I truly thought that they thought it was going to be something really special, and I was like, I'm not taking a chance with Maybelline. And once again, this is something that, again, of course, there's mixed reviews out there, but for the most part, people are like, no. And it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth the price tag. So I'm glad that I did not get sucked into the hype of that one because I would have been real angry. Next one I have on my list is a newer product. This one is from Natasha De Nonna. It was called like the Diamond and Glow, the Diamond and Blush palette. I have it pulled up on my laptop. This was the $89 face palette that Natasha came out with recently. Natasha De Nonna is known for her crazy price tags on her products, but even at $89, this was one that I was like, do I want this one? But I said no. I talked myself out of it. I was like, nope, you do not need this one. You do not need an $89 face palette, Samantha. Get it together. But then when I did start watching the reviews of it, again, it was one that just didn't seem to be getting a ton of good reviews. I was watching, like, a bunch of people got it in PR, and I was watching them, and even the ones who were getting it in PR, they were like trying to say nice things about it, but you could tell that it just was not going to be worth the $89 price tag. It did have powders in there, and it also had creams, and I am not a big cream face product girl, blush, highlight, anything like that. So I was like, no, you definitely do not need that palette. But after seeing the reviews, and then after it came out, because it released recently, and it kind of got a little bit of buzz, especially in like PR and haulings and trying new makeup, and then it's pretty much died down. I haven't really heard anybody talk about it. So I'm like, good decision, Samantha. Way to not purchase that. Next up I have on here the Lorac Mega Pro 4 palette. This was one that I almost had myself talked into because I've never had a Lorac Mega Pro palette, the big Mega Pros. Obviously there's 4 of them. I've never owned one, and when the 4 was coming out, it looked really intriguing to me. I was interested in it, but I believe those palettes are like $59, so they're really expensive, and I couldn't decide, and I didn't know if I wanted to do it. I was like, should this be my first Mega Pro palette, and I'm glad that I did not buy it because a lot of people were saying that was like the worst of the Mega Pro palettes from Lorac. It did not get a lot of good reviews. It almost immediately went on sale at Ulta, then it went on sale again. Like I feel like I saw this palette for like $27 or something like that, which is a pretty huge discount from the original price of $59, but it just did not seem to be getting very good reviews at all. So I'm glad that I did not decide to purchase that palette because I probably would have been disappointed in it. Maybe it would have scared me off from the other Lorac Mega Pro palettes, which I feel like most of those do get pretty good reviews, and they used to be like a really staple product, especially in the beauty community. And when I first started watching YouTube videos, I heard a lot about the Lorac Mega Pro palettes. I heard a lot about like the Urban Decay Naked palettes, a lot of buzz about those, but the four did not seem to be doing so well. I just have 2 more items left. The next one here is the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Foundation. This was one that I just wanted to try. I love trying new foundations. I love finding new foundations. I've been on a foundation kick for quite some time now. So when Huda Beauty was releasing her foundation, I was super interested in it. I wanted to get it. And then like every single shade sold out super quickly. It was crazy. And I remember like I would keep checking and I would place another order so far. I'd check to see, nope, still not in stock. I'm like, oh my gosh, is this foundation just like absolutely magical or what? And then I started watching more and more reviews from it. And it's not that I think that it's a bad product or that people don't like it, but from what people were saying in their reviews, I'm like, you know what, I don't think that that foundation would have worked for me. It sounds like it's a very full coverage and it sounds like it's a very mattifying foundation, and 2 things that I don't necessarily love for me personally. I like a more medium coverage foundation. I like something that kind of gives me a little bit of like luminosity or a little bit of dewiness to the skin. Like a super mattifying foundation is just not my favorite. So when I started watching the reviews, even though it does seem like a lot of people still quite enjoy the foundation, maybe not as many as I thought, especially with so many shades being sold out for so long. I guess I just expect to see that foundation like in every single tutorial video, and I don't feel like I see it as much as maybe I would think. But I think for what I look for personally in a foundation, that it wouldn't have been a good match for me, and I believe it was in the $40 range, so it's probably best that I didn't purchase that one, and I'm okay skipping over it now. I know it just came back, it just got restocked, but I'm like, you know what? I'm okay, I'm gonna pass over it, And then the last one I have on my list here is the Wet n Wild Highlight Palette. This was a 4-pan palette that came out. I want to say it was like $14 or $15 or something like that. It had some really cool, unique looking shades in there, but for whatever reason, when I looked at it, I was like, you know what? No, it kind of was something that I knew right away that I wasn't interested in purchasing. I have tried the single Wet n Wild highlights. I have the Highlight Precious Petals, and I know a ton of people really enjoy those highlights, but it just was one that it just didn't get me as hyped as it does some other people. So I was like, should I purchase a highlight palette? Probably not. Probably wouldn't be the best move. And again, this one I didn't see a ton of great reviews on, and even for people who really, really love the single Wet n Wild highlights, a lot of people were saying they didn't feel like the formula was the same. There just wasn't a lot of great feedback on that one. I also heard a lot of comments about the packaging, and some people thought the price was too high for Wet n Wild as a brand. They thought maybe it should have been more inexpensive, especially with the packaging and all that, but it sounded like a lot of people weren't quite super happy with the highlights inside. And I've been watching some declutters lately because I've been trying to get myself in the declutter mood. I just did my high-end eyeshadow palette declutter the other day, and I have another declutter coming up, so I watch more and more declutters to kind of like get me in that vibe, you know. And I've been seeing that highlight palette decluttered out of collections as well, so that kind of says something to me too. So I thought that was a good decision to pass over that one, and that's another one that I do not regret not having that one in my collection. But after the Wet n Wild highlight palette, boom, it's gonna do it for today's video. That was a quick one. Okay, so that's gonna be everything for today's video, talking about makeup products that I do not regret not purchasing. I hope that you guys enjoyed seeing another regret video from me. Again, my playlist will be linked down below if you want to see more videos similar in style to this one. Let me know in the comments down below what is something that you decided to pass over and you're like, you know what, that was a good decision. I'm not mad that I did not buy that one. I would love to know your products down below, but as always, if you guys did enjoy this one or you found it helpful or entertaining, I hope that you will give it a thumbs up. I hope that you'll also consider subscribing before you go, and I'll catch you guys in tomorrow's video.